There are many kinds of villains, but I have two that are my favorites. First, there are the ones who are cool, the ones with a certain kind of charm that makes them attractive and intimidating at the same time. Then there are the ones you love to hate, those that are just despicable, particularly when they mask it under a saccharine visage. Seeing them meet their end makes you just happy, you clap your hands when it happens. Drive is now both those kind of villains. The episode begins with siblings plus Ryder going to Q's book signing. The guy is just a collaborator for the SCU. He's a freelance network analyst and otaku expert, a pretty passionate one considering his reaction to whatever it was whispered to him. At the same time, slowdown happens around the lawman trio. Match goes ahead, having his belt on him. The Rodmute is attacking a woman on the rooftop of a very tall building, murmuring about something unacceptable. But that's short-lived, since when Match and Drive arrive on the roof, he forgets the woman in order to act as a Hatsune Miku fanboy at the live concert. Before the Rider duo can comprehend the situation, two more Rodmutes appear and attack the fanboy. The half-evolved enemies are though distracted by the Riders. The duo is pretty tough, and the short fight finishes in a draw, and later, the trio finds that the other Rodmute's tracks brought them to Q's apartment. You don't need to be a genius to understand that indeed a Rodmute is imprinted on Q. Switching to the Enforcers, we find out that the two Reaper Rodmutes are Chase's replacement created by Medic. They will reset all the Rodmutes in his place now. Also, I think she's purposely bad-mouthing Brain when he can't hear them. Back to the SCU, the team is trying to decipher which Q is the Rodmute. It goes as comedic as you can imagine, but we learn a couple things about him. First, Q's real name is Kenta. Second, he came into contact with the Rodmute on New Year's Eve. Knowing he was tied to the SCU, he wanted to use his position to find info on Drive. Third, the Rodmute has actually been to work in Q's place on various occasions. Still, there's something more. The real Q, for whatever reason, doesn't want to betray the Rodmute, nor is he willing to disclose the reason why he attacked the woman. But Tomari gets the hint that it's tied to Q's favorite anime. After a long marathon of the series, Shinosuke comes up with a plan, which I hope to dear god doesn't involve again going Terminator on the two, but fortunately it was only a hippie gun, and our hero's about to crack the case. And a commemorative plate, of course, the Q jumping impossibly high is the Rodmute, but Shinosuke doesn't want to destroy him. Whatever happened between the two, Q was genuinely trying to protect the Rodmute. The monster was originally going to kill and take Q's place, but as a last request, Q was allowed to watch Murmur Mansion's finale. And what do you know, Rodmutes have hearts too. The two found a kindred spirit in each other. By allowing the Rodmute to take his place on occasions, he was able to enjoy living as a human, and his reaction to a stupid casting choice for the Murmur Mansion movie was pretty human indeed, just exaggerated because of his nature. Also, Shinosuke is now a fan too, and by understanding their feelings, he also understands that this Rodmute is finally proof that, yes, the two races can coexist. But of course, as drama would dictate, this is the moment the Reapers and Medic attack. And when I say attack, I mean it. As Match engages the trio, we discover that Medic actually mortally wounded the Rodmute, and as a last gesture, he asks Shinosuke to tell Q that he went crazy, because he doesn't want his friend to be sad. It's a really powerful moment, which earns a powerful reaction from Shinosuke. You can read the anger in his eyes. And we hear from Medic that she's realized that no matter how many times Rodmutes are reset, they make the same mistakes. This is a really important point, but more on that later. She's decided to basically do ethnic cleansing among the Rodmudes. Only she, Heart, and a few chosen ones will be allowed to survive. Defective Rodmudes will be destroyed by her as the new Shinigami, which is blasphemy to Shinosuke's ears. Even as a Rodmude ally, Chaser always cherishes life above everything else. Medic is no Shinigami, she's just a demon, a filthy murderer who deserves the full measure of Shinosuke's wrath. The arrogant Medic doesn't transform, not even when Shinosuke shrugs off her laser from point blank, and she barely avoids being charcoaled from a dead hit / max flare combination by using her own allies as mid shields. This doesn't appease Shinosuke's rage, of course, not with what she's done, and not with the lie he has to tell Kyu to respect his friend's last wish. This is now very personal for both Drive and Medic. While she may have escaped, she probably was never harmed before. Speaking of harm, episode 21 begins with the discovery of a body, or 5, each one killed in a different way, but all at the same time. It's why they decided to call Kaen back in from the SCU, but Shinosuke feels there is something more to the victims. And apparently there is, since the main suspect for one of the cases is Chase's human form. This requires the riders to investigate the murders too, of course, and it brings Go and Shinosuke clashing again about Chase. And to make matters worse, Belt-san this time agrees with Go. If Chase really started killing people, there is no choice but to dispatch him. Shinosuke and Kiriko won't go that far yet, but it's evident that if he's that far gone, they'll need to fight him. And Heart and Chase, with some pretty heavy sponsorship by the slighted Medic, agree that it's time for Shinosuke to go for good. And while Brain sits at how she's got the two of them in her palm, Kaen and a colleague find the Shinigami's bike. They try to question him, but you can imagine how well that goes. Match and Shinosuke arrive in time, and for the first time, Kaen gets a good look at both riders, and not only that, since they both introduce themselves, he now also has their names. Back to the fight, Mac is in a pinch. Medic has powered Chase up further, to the point that he's able to cause a slowdown powerful enough to affect the Kamen Riders, even if just to the point of making their movements sluggish. Drive comes back to help him, and then while Chase admits to only care about the Rodmude lives, he doesn't admit to having killed anyone. But any further discourse is prevented by Medic, who crashes the party alongside 3 more Reapers. She makes Chase withdraw and then attacks the 2 riders personally, and here we discover the true power of the Enforcer. She's not just a simple healer, not a simple fighter, she has total control over the composition of a Rodmude's body. And as the riders and Brain find out, even a partial modification is troublesome enough. And back at the SCU, Kaen's enthusiasm causes Shinosuke to have a realization. All the victims are people past Rodmude's copied, but why were they killed only recently? Among confusion though, Q and the deceased 72 give the SCU an incredible breakthrough. Q has developed a software to track Rodmudes, without having to wait for them to cause slowdown. This is huge. After a brief ominous scene with Medic and shift cars, we see Brain approach Chase. He slips one of his toxins inside the Shinigami's body, calling it an extra aid. But the one who really needs aid is Match. To let Chase fight Shinosuke alone, Heart and Medic decide to double team him. And sadly, we found out that Medic can modify shift cars as well. Not only that, it was all her plan. By making multiple murders traceable back to Rodmude's happen, she wanted the shift cars to split up to investigate. She hunted them down one by one. With that hit in Match's hands, Shinosuke is in very deep shit. The body type scars only are not going to cut it. Shinosuke still fights like a lion, manages to get hits in, but his enemy's advantage is too evident, providing the help from the shift cars. And to add fuel to the fire, Chase's new ability is not slowdown, it's a fucking localized Zowardo! Go decides to risk it and send that hit to Shinosuke, which only makes the situation marginally better. Shinosuke tries pleading with the Reaper, reminding him of his past as Proto-Drive, of Kiriko, and whatever Brain has done to Chase, her name has some effect on him again, but only for a second. and Belt-san realizes there is no choice. There is one shift car that Belt-san has kept secret. This is because this shift car is even more dangerous than Dead Hit. But with Chase now even able to tune all his 3 shift cars at the same time, there is no alternative. Just as Chase delivers what would otherwise be a lethal attack, Sage shift car sweeps in, and the inferno generated by the Shinigami disappears with a shout of its name: Drive! Type Formula! Oh wow, what a great couple of episodes, especially the first one. The first one has great significance for one simple fact. Remember exactly what Medic said. She found out that, even after being reset, Rodimus will do the same mistakes. This is the whole reason why she went Boko Haram on her own people. That, and she's a bitch. But the thing is, even with Chase, she wasn't able to simply change the way it worked. So, while the Rodimus and Chase are completely artificial life forms, what they do, what they are, is not simple programming. It may be based on that, but the result is not a software. It's not something you can distort or override successfully. You can just trick it. Did you know that the human mind too works like that? That even under hypnosis, we won't do things that we wouldn't do without hypnosis? Rodimus do not monkey human emotions. They may feed on them to grow stronger, but they are actually able to feel genuine ones of their own. They are not simulations run by a computer program. Unless their creator actually put information about how to react to anime in his prototypes, and them. It was so sad watching 72 die, and Jesus Christ. Medic goes into my most hated villains ever list. I mean, she's playing everyone, and everyone will hate her. She started killing her own kin in a misguided vision of an elitist utopia for her and her beloved. Say what you want about Chase, Heart and Brain, but they never resorted to that. And you've seen how passionate Heart is about these people's lives. What do you think is going to happen when the cat is out of the bag? Heart is going to kill her! If she doesn't kill him first, and then she's killed by whoever the big bad is. I have the feeling that the final boss in all these is still hidden. It's not like Kaen, where you could tell from the beginning that Kota was going to fight Kaito at the end. Hell, episode 22, which will finish this 2-parter, is called Drive vs Chase, the final battle. So 2 things can happen here. Well, 4 actually. Either Chase wakes up, but that's unlikely, or he dies but finds himself again just before the end, or he's so damaged from the fight that even after waking up he will be out of commission for a long time. And then there is also the possibility that Shinosuke will die, but that's very unlikely. Whatever happens though, my request and my greatest desire right now, I want to see Medic pay! I want it to be horrible, something along the lines of Sid's death from Gaim. But this isn't that kind of show, I guess. Well, that's everything for today, Rider fans. What did you think of these 2 episodes? Agree? Disagree? Isn't Medic just the worst? Let me know in the comments or one of my social media accounts. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Jane!